but you had to go find yourself out there, and you found yourself, and now you're starting to come back. I'm really feeling strongly like you might be wanting to go to like law school, maybe psychology, also like law enforcement, the judicial system, something that puts you actually like smack dab in the middle of all of those things that you thought were so icky. You could not even participate in your regular life because you didn't want anything to do with them. And now something has shifted and it's like turned itself inside out, and you can see how much influence you would really have in that space. Welcome, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is your month ahead reading. If you are new here, welcome. I'm Bee, and our horoscope readings are intended to be timeless. So the message will find you whenever you are in the vibration to receive these messages, and whenever this is something that is coming up for you that Spirit would like for you to know about. So what we have here today, we have breaking trail. And this feels like you have been sort of on a really long path of struggle. It really feels like struggle. Not being able to make peace with the way the world works, or the way that people place expectations upon you. Being very sensitive to pressure around conformity. And it feels like maybe you've had support around this, where the people in your life recognize that you are different. And that's a very Aquarian energy in the first place. Like, that's, you didn't come here to do it everybody the regular way. Like, you came here to eat ice cream with a butter knife or whatever. So it feels like the people around you have been supportive, and that has given you a sense of freedom to explore who you are. It feels like up until this point, you have only really known that you are not like everybody else. That the way the world works, or the systems that are in place, they're not for you. And now there's this shift taking place where it's no longer about what you're not, it's becoming about what you are. But you had to like dig in and like carve your own sort of, I'm like really feeling like digging, like clawing your way forward, just because you refuse to go any other way. Any path that was paved before, you just really have no interest in going that way. You didn't come here to follow someone else's path or to fit into someone else's structure. You wanted to pave your own way, but what you were really doing in that resistance to everything around you, what you were really doing was learning about yourself. You didn't know which way you wanted to go. You just knew that everyone's going that way, and so you're going to go in the opposite way. And you didn't know what was that way, but it didn't matter because that wasn't the point. The point was you finding yourself. You having to be so far removed from other people or from certain systems in society. Maybe you've had a hard time finding a job because you just can't insert yourself into a structure that you know is inherently not good for a lot of people. Or maybe school, like you've been wanting to like further your education, but not wanting to go in debt to go to college. So you really weren't able to see how you fit in to this world, and that can leave you really feeling alienated and like not having a sense of belonging, but most importantly not having a very strong sense of self. And it feels like that's what's changing now. So in that struggle, in that resistance to the norms, in wanting to break free and wanting to find your own way, you do find yourself, and you find what you stand for. You find what excites you. I'm really drawn to the sun energy in our strength card here, where you realize it's not about fighting against everything that's wrong, because that's a never-ending battle. That will be your whole life. If you want to fight against it, that's great. We have people that do that. But for you, my friend, that is not your calling. That's your instinct. Because when you see injustice in the world, you want to fix it. But you've made it this far and it feels like just butting your head against a wall. It feels like digging yourself underground. It doesn't feel good for you anymore to do that. So what is being called in here is a shift of your mindset around those things. And I know how complicated that seems. I know how tough that is to embrace. My Mercury is in Aquarius, and it's I lose my words. I'm very, very sensitive to things being done in a way that is not in integrity, in a way that is unfair, in a way that is unequal. It feels like you're in that kind of energy too, where you can't unsee the injustice in the world, and it left you in a space of not knowing where you fit in, because you've made it to this point where you really don't want to fight. It's not about fight. Now it's starting to become about strategy. Now it's starting to become about almost like infiltrating the systems that are needing some repair, needing some renovation, so that they do become better for everybody. And instead, like, what you've realized is that if everyone is existing over here in this sphere of reality and you're all the way over there, you can't influence this. The best way for you to influence this, because you've realized that you can't like break it apart, you can't shatter the whole thing, you can't Eren Yeager this bitch. You have to be smart about it. And intellect is one of your strong suits, and that might be something that you don't even know yet. You might not even know how smart you are, is what I'm hearing, because you have spent almost all of your mental energy on resisting everything. Absolutely kicking and screaming, refusing to put yourself in a place of being considered normal. It's like the worst thing in the world would be for everyone to think that you thought that this is okay. And you feel like by showing up in that classroom, you feel like by showing up in that job, everyone will think that you think that this is okay. And now it's not about there's an ego there. There's an ego there where you're like, I am righteous. I am above the way this is working. I will not cooperate under these circumstances. But now there's like a whisper of intellect that's like, hey, there's a better way for us to do this. Not only is it a smarter way, but it's actually a way that is more in alignment with your new sense of self. You have this confidence that has been built over time from you separating yourself from everyone else. That sense of self you've found really becomes your strength, because you realize that no one can take it away from you. And that's something that you're a little bit afraid of. So like if you do go back into those environments, if you go back into those rooms, you're almost afraid that you will be knocked off balance, that everything that you expected to happen would happen. And it might, but it's only temporary. You will find that other people in those situations they're not sure who they are either. They're pretending. They're pretending to be okay with things, but they don't know any better. And so you realize that they're not the enemy, that there really isn't an enemy. It just is like a a lack of awareness. And you are the person that is able to bring an awareness, but like in a gentle way. It feels like you were trying to bring awareness in a very harsh way, a very direct way, almost in a way of like, almost trying to convince people, maybe not convince, but giving people the sense that in order to be around you, they had to hate those things just as much as you. And that's exhausting. That's exhausting for a lot of people, but it's also exhausting for you. So now you're in this space of wanting to know more. It feels like something has sparked your curiosity, and you want to know more about how to approach this in a gentler way, but more importantly, in a really impactful way, in a really effective way. What you were doing before was for you. It didn't feel like it was for you because you wanted to be over there because of all of the injustice over here. But you being over there isn't serving anybody who is being marginalized over here. That's the word that came. I don't know if I'm using that right. But anybody who is being excluded, anyone who is being treated poorly, treated unfairly, you can't help them when you're way out here. But you had to go find yourself out there, and you found yourself, and now you're starting to come back. I'm really feeling strongly like you might be wanting to go to like law school, or wanting to do something. Oh, I got chills all on my left side. Law school, maybe psychology. I have chills everywhere. What is going on? That must be resonating for someone. Also, like law enforcement, the judicial system, something that puts you actually like smack dab in the middle of all of those things that you thought were so icky. You could not even participate in your regular life because you didn't want anything to do with them. And now something has shifted, and it's like turned itself inside out, and you can see how much influence you would really have in that space. So we're in the energy right now of building confidence that this is something you can actually do. And this is something that you can actually do. Feels strongly because we have two major arcana here. We have strength and we have the chariot. And this is asking for you to take a leap of faith. Trust that you are ready now, that you haven't missed. I'm sensing like a feeling of guilt too, because you were so far removed for so long and almost afraid to like reintegrate yourself into certain situations because you're not sure how you're going to react, or you're not sure what people are like now. Maybe you've been away from society for a really long time. Maybe you have been just kind of a shut-in and not interacting very much, maybe not watching the news, maybe just kind of like soothing and like taking care of yourself, because that sense of injustice, it was like really tearing you apart. Now as you like move back into, because what you were experiencing before was from you being really afraid. There's a fear that the way things look now is the way things are always going to look, and they're always going to get worse. That's very doomy. I wonder if you've got like some Scorpio also in your chart, is sort of what that feels like. Maybe some Scorpio, maybe even Cancer, like Cancer moon or Scorpio moon, something like that, where your brain naturally just goes straight to the bottom, worst possible outcome. It's the end of the world. It's 100% the apocalypse. And there's a fear that comes with that if you participate in these things over here, that you're contributing to like the doom of humanity. You are not coming back into those things with that same fear. You have found your strength in yourself, and it feels like you have found strength also in the people that are supporting you. The people that love you and support you, it feels like they're kind of in the middle path. And They knew, it feels like they knew to not pressure you to do anything you didn't want to do. They knew not to try and influence you or make you change your mind, because that isn't something anyone else can make an Aquarius do. No one's going to change your mind. You will hear the right thing at the right time in a sideways kind of way, and that will be what makes you change your mind. But the people around you that are loving you and supporting you and trying to appreciate where you are, wherever you are, they've kind of guided you back over this way just by example, because you see them interacting with their life. And the way that they interact with their life and the feedback that they come with, or the stories that they share, or the interactions they have with those systems or with the general public, like, they don't match up with all of the things that you used to be afraid of. And you're like, well, they're not lying, so I must be missing something. And now it's more like a curiosity. So coming back in with a curious nature, how instead of fear, feeling curious instead of fearful, feeling well equipped with a sense of self, because that was what was really missing. You were so distracted by the collective energies going on that you really were having a hard time finding your sense of self. I'm also drawn to the Strength card as being representative of Leo energy, and Leo is the polarity to Aquarius. Leo is very much about the sense of self, the sense of ego, but Aquarius is on the other end of that spectrum, the sense of self in relation to the collective. Wanting things to break down is what you've realized over here. You're like, all these things that are falling apart, I don't want them to stay the same anyway. So what I'm seeing out there, or what is on the news or whatever, it might not be that bad. All of these things were things that were happening in the first place, and it was just hidden. And now it's all coming to light. And as these things break down, do I want to be over there where I just have to observe and witness as they get rebuilt, or do I want to be part of the rebuilding? And you want to be part of the rebuilding. You have such a powerful perspective and such a powerful integrity that you see you would be really kind of doing a disservice to the collective if you just hide from all of this. Not only that, but you don't want to hide, but you don't have the strength to fight. So what is the way to really be of service to the rebuilding of everything that's in place for us as humans, as a collective? How can you get there? So if you're feeling like you want to go back to school, if you're feeling like you want to start a new career, all of the energy is, your guides are just all around. It's such a tight circle. They're showing me like arms linked, and it's not even like holding hands in a big circle. It's like they're shoulder to shoulder around you. You are absolutely protected. You are absolutely supported through this. You are so sensitive. I feel like everybody in these collective messages, like, these messages are for highly sensitive people. For a highly sensitive person, you really do have to get your sense of self in order. You have to, because that's where you anchor. When something triggers you, when something feels bad, when something feels wrong, you aren't going to be running around to other people trying to get some comfort. You are anchoring into your own energy. You're anchoring into what you found to be true for you over here and just bringing it back this way. So overall, the message is to go for it. Pursue the joy. Anything that feels like a tantrum, anything that feels like resistance for the sake of resistance, because sometimes that can be a trap that Aquarius falls into too. There's also the energy in Aries, just that I don't want to do it because you want me to do it. It might have been the thing that I wanted to do, but since you told me to do it, I'm not going to do it. There's a little bit of that energy kind of like sticking around you. And all it does is suck your energy and make you distracted. You are most effective and most impactful and of the most service to the collective when you are focused on what lights you up. The other aspect of this is the anger. So when there's that sense of injustice and that sense of what is wrong with people? Like, why are we doing this to each other? Like, how did this happen? It is just the natural evolution of things. It will break down to be rebuilt because that's the cycle, that's the rhythm, that's the way creation happens. These are more like physical laws rather than moral right or wrong. That anger that you feel might have been part of the reason that you went over there, because anger generally is not very well received. People are not usually happy when you're angry and ranting about everything all the time. So it sort of made you feel like you don't belong over here, because why is everyone quiet? Why is everyone not saying anything? And what's really happening is they're working in secret. They have found a way to take that energy, to take that anger, that raw power. Anger is fuel. It is such powerful fuel. If I get onto something, I will research it all night. I will go 38 hours of no sleep and not even realize it on fueled by anger. And that can go a variety of ways. A lot of people have a lot of anger and they don't have a good channel for it. You are going to have a good channel for it. There's almost like this obsession where you have to do something now, and you realized you didn't have the energy to just fight and just be mad at it, and now you want to use that focus. Or now, the invitation from spirit is like, because it feels like that's one of your fears. You're like, how can I come back over here when I'm so angry at what's over here? Spirit, like the guidance here is that you are walking into a never-ending well of energy. And you won't be angry all the time. It's when something reflects back at you that triggers that anger, it kind of shows you which direction to go in your focus, like in the way of your dreams. Let it guide you. If that's the thing that makes you so mad, then how can you dive into that and go deeper and get to the roots of it and be like, where is this coming from? And then how can I gain as much wisdom as I can so I can insert myself in that place and cut it off at the root? So you're coming back over to this spot, but you are actually going to be diving down into the roots of the problem. And that's for some of you. Some of you are more solution oriented and more wanting to be part of the rebuilding. Some of you want to be part of the crumbling. And there's space for both of you. There's space for both of those energies if you are one that embodies both. I feel strongly that we all embody both. We are all creation. We are all destruction. And you might find yourself at different times feeling called to different actions. But it will feel good. It will feel so good to follow that path. It won't feel like fighting anymore. It won't feel like resistance. It's almost like you can envision now on the other side of it where we're going. Instead of looking at everything happening right now and being like, wow, this is awful. Now you're like, this is awful, and I'm going to get in there. And I'm going to feel what I feel. I'm going to see what I can see. And I'm going to use that to get us out on the other side. Wow, the movement that happens, it's 24 minutes here. We haven't even talked about the chariot. The movement that happens here after you get your bearings, after you get your stride, after you actually take that leap of faith and make that change, or do that, actually after you make the decision, You make the firm choice, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be on the Supreme Court. I'm going to be a psychologist. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a superintendent of a school to make sure that none of this shit ever happens again. I'm going to, whatever it is that you decide to do, you move so quickly. It's like everything just kind of clicks into place, and it's like a clear path forward, because the path that you were paving this way also was paving itself in the opposite direction, but like you couldn't see it. It's just that it's the natural, it's the nature of energy. When you create in one direction, it has to create in the opposite direction. So you are feeling like you're really far behind. You're feeling like you maybe lost your chance, or you are too far removed or too far away from over here because you've been going this way. No, it's like a leap. As soon as you make that decision, as soon as you start moving back in this direction, it's not a hard and arduous trail to get back over here. It's not going to take decades like it did this way. It is a quantum leap. It is an instant shift. You found what you needed over here, and now it's time to move over here and really make a difference with all of who you are. The end of this message is going to be carry love. All of the things that you want to heal and correct and set right, all the justice you want to see in the world, it is not achieved through fighting. It is not achieved through violence. It is not achieved, and all of those things made you feel really icky in the first place, but you could not see any other way. And as a person who just didn't have that fight in them, you couldn't see how you fit in. And now you see that the answer to all of the fighting and all of the violence and all of the oppression is not more fighting and violence and oppression. It's not silencing the people that are saying the wrong thing. It's loving. It's bringing a loving energy and an open heart and a certainty that you are protected by your own light as you enter dark spaces. The more light we have over here, the more light we have over here. And we need your light. So, Aquarius, thank you so much for being here. That is our message for you this month. I love you so much. Please take care.